Hello, guys, and good morning. And listen, welcome to your market report for Wednesday, July 18th, 2018. Let's get the charts open right here, and let's start with the silver price today. We're seeing a massive move downwards over the last little while in the price of silver, down to 1540. 1540. I believe silver is in the process right now of making what's called a final. I'll call it a final bottom. I think it's the final bottom. And how low will that final bottom be? I'm not exactly sure, but she's in this final bottoming process. I'm going to call it final bottoming process. And why I call it final bottoming process is I think when this process is completed, then we're going to see silver start a bull market along with gold that's going to last a very long time. It's going to be a very powerful bull market once this bottoming process is completed. Now, how long is this bottoming process going to take? And here's the thing. Cryptocurrency, this is where we're switching right now. Cryptocurrency is doing exactly the same thing. It's in a bottoming process. And so a couple days ago, last week, I said that I thought I'd see Bitcoin move up to 7,500. That was what I predicted, and then I said I think it's going to roll back over and go back into its bottoming process. Now this is a short-term chart. Let's take a look at the longer-term chart. Let's take a look at the 2-hour chart. Actually, let's go for this chart here. No. Let's try this one. Okay, this one right here looks good. Okay, now what we're seeing here with cryptocurrency is it made its peak at 20,000, and we're seeing it in a bear market and making these bottoms. Made a bottom right here, and made another bottom right here, and now what it's doing is it went up, and I said 7,500 is how high I thought it would go. 75.65, and I believe now what I believe it's going to do is I don't believe it's going to go to the moon. I think it's still in the bottoming process. So I think it's probably going to put in another bottom. Bitcoin is going through this process, and when it completes it, it's going to go into a bull market too. But how long is it going to take to complete this process? That's the thing. With silver and with Bitcoin, that's a $64 million question. We can see that they're in this process is very similar on both. If I went back to the silver 30-year-long chart, it looks almost identical to this chart right here with Bitcoin, except Bitcoin's only taken a few matter of months to complete the same thing silver's taken years to complete. But still, the pattern is almost identical to what it's doing. Now, cryptocurrency market capitalizations today. What we're seeing is everything in the upswing because everything moved up from like 6,500 to 7,500. And this carried all of the altcoins up with it. Which ones are up the most is Stellar is up massively today. It's up 30%, 29.58%. Bitcoin itself is up a lot at 10% up. Let me see a coin, if we can find a coin that's not up that much. IOTA's not up that much, really. Tether. Tether is, I'm telling you right now, Tether looks like it's really down on the ropes. And that's the time to buy something. Buy it when it's down on the ropes. Tether is the only coin here that's actually in the red. Tether's at $1 right now. That might be almost like pointing a finger at it and saying, buy me, because it's $1 even, you know. It's like you can get 100 tethers for $100, you know. And right now, you know, and that might be a screaming buy, you know, because it's so cheap. It's went down so low right now. It's probably due for a bounce. That's the way with these cryptocurrencies. If they go down a lot, then generally they're due for a bounce. So everything, it looks pretty much in the green for all of these coins. And cryptocurrency's future looks awfully bright. Bitcoin dominance 43%. $295 billion market capital right now. Now the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Okay, where's my page? Okay, 25,800, 108. We're down 11 points on the day. That's what we are. We're down 11 points on the day. The volumes are still staying really low here, and they have been low for the last little while. On a market that's upticking, we got low volumes. And of course, the market's not doing a whole lot today. There's very little volatility in it right today. It's just kind of practically stalled right for the moment. You ever heard the old saying, the calm before the storm? Anyway, let's take a look at crude oil. Crude oil is down 70 cents on the day. It's just over 1%. And she's been going down. She's been dropping ever since she hit 74.25 on June 29th. And it's been dropping ever since. And now it's down to 67.55. Well, actually 67.38 this morning. Now, bonds and rates. Yesterday, all the yields were up a little bit. And today we're playing this dance, and they're all down a little bit today, all the yields. Actually, the long bond, earlier it was down, now it's up very marginally at 2.971. The short-term U.S. 3-month is breached 2%. And so we've got a flattening. It's not flattened yet, but it's a flattening yield curve. It's not. It hasn't. It's moving in that direction toward a flattening yield curve. Now the U.S. dollar. U.S. dollar is riding high and strong at 95.27 today. Now I'm not going to go to Deutsche Bank this second. But Deutsche Bank is up marginally. It's up just a tiny little fraction. Like people are evidently buying into Deutsche Bank. And there's something I want to report on though here before we end it today. Is there's a new fissure near Yellowstone, a supervolcano. Now, if you guys don't know about Yellowstone, and a lot of people don't know about it. They've heard of Yellowstone National Park and everything. It's out in the American West. It's a giant national park built around an ancient volcano. And they say that the volcano erupts every 600,000 years, but in truth, I don't believe that it's actually that long. I think they've accidentally, or not accidentally, but they have got the time scale off. I don't believe it's really 600,000 years. I think it's more like every 6,000 years. Because how can they see back in time? They can't. And here's the other thing. Is there's a whole bunch of old calderas. They have mapping that they've done, and they've looked back. And what the caldera is it's an area where the lava pools underneath this giant, massive volcano. It's what they call a super volcano. So a caldera is absolutely massive. You know, an awful lot of volcanoes, if you've seen scenes in movies and stuff, the people, they walk up the side of the volcano and they look into the caldera. And the caldera is that big lava pool, you know, that they look into. And then generally it's only a few hundred meters across. It might be 100 feet across or something like that. That's a typical volcano. Well, this thing's got a caldera that's like 50 miles across. You can't see to the other side of the caldera. That's how big it is, this volcano that's in this park. They know absolutely that when it blows up every time, that it destroys the world. It doesn't actually destroy the world, but it sends us into a winter-like period for about 2 or 3 years afterwards, where nothing grows. Uh, it just messes everything the heck up. And as far as the United States is concerned, about 3/4 of the United States would be covered with about a foot of ash. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, we'd survive that like we survive a snowstorm. And the answer is no, you wouldn't, because that ash is full of glass. It gets inside your lungs, and it'll get inside anything. If that ash comes down like snow outside, it's not like snow. Snow doesn't make its way into your house. Ash, even if it's outside your house, it's going to find its way in, and it's going to find its way into your lungs, and it's going to kill you. There's practically no surviving a foot of ash over your city unless you get the heck out of the city. And how are you going to get the heck out of the city or get the heck out of there if all the roads are blocked because everybody else is trying to get out of there? But not only that, every city across the United States is the same way. It's like, where are you going to go? And so this thing is a horrible machine, this volcano. Well, this volcano came back to life back. Now, remember, they say it's a 600,000 year, it remains dormant. Well, it came back to life back in the 1920s. And it's been increasing its activity ever since. And there's only one reason why a volcano does that. When a volcano comes back to life after being dormant for a very long period of time, it's preparing for an eruption. Right? So Yellowstone is preparing for an eruption. Now, how long will it be preparing for this eruption? Well, it's been doing this. It started preparing way back because it's so big, see? A lot of volcanoes, when they start preparing for an eruption's imminent within the next 6 months. Yellowstone is so big, it starts preparing for an eruption in the 1920s, and we still haven't had it yet. But we're moving closer every day to this eruption. When's it going to occur? We don't know. Some point in the future, but not in the extremely distant future. Not 100 years from now. And probably not tomorrow either. But it's showing a sign here. Yellowstone is now showing a sign that's very, very nerve-wracking. It's starting to put off more earthquakes lately. We're underneath the ground. We're seeing pressure build up in these lava pools of hot magma flowing into these lava pools. And the geysers there are becoming much more active in around the park and in around that area. They're having to close parts of the park. Now, just recently, in the last few days, this is where I'm going to get at, a new fissure has actually opened up. It's like 100 feet long, this 100-foot long fissure in Yellowstone supervolcano. And they've had to close parts of the Teton National Park, coupled with Steamboat Geyser, because of a new activity status. Fears of an eruption at the Yellowstone caldera are increasing. This is very bad news for everyone in the world, because if this thing blows up, well, the whole world can kiss its ass goodbye. You don't have to live close to Yellowstone for this thing to take you out. This thing is so big. Anyway, and that's why I'm reporting on it. I get my information on what's going on at Yellowstone at a few different channels, and this is the latest information that's going on. And listen, thank you guys for listening to this market report, and we're going to keep you up to date on Yellowstone too here, because it's something that can affect the financial system and the whole world. Yellowstone is like, this is the man when it comes to volcanoes, you know. So thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you in the next show. Bye-bye.